have a look at all of this, because when the real-life issues are as bleak as rape and acid attacks, perhaps a comic book character fighting back is an effective way of delivering a message. It certainly worked for Priya, a comic about gang rape survivor, which came out in 2014, and of course that was shortly after the notorious attack on a bus in Delhi. Well, now the author has come back with a new book, Priya's Mirror, this time looking at the issue of acid attacks. Well, Rom Devaney is in New York, where Priya's Mirror will be launched on Friday at the New York Film Festival. Thank you so much for being here with us. As I was saying there, your first comic book was just a huge success. Tell me a little more about what you're trying to do with this second book.
Well, what was kind of remarkable was I was in Delhi, just a few months ago when we were developing this story, talking with acid attack survivors. And what I learned is acid attack survivors face the same cultural and societal problems that rape survivors do. So we wanted to continue the story of Priya, who's the main character of our first chapter, into the second chapter and address the problem of acid attacks, not only in India, but also in the United States and down in Colombia as well.
Now, we were talking a bit earlier and talking about how you were targeting this teenage boys and the use of the mirror. Just explain those two elements of this.
Sure. Well, this project is the first comic book funded by the World Bank, and they really loved the idea that we were creating a comic book that is appealing to teenagers and especially teenage boys. And one of the remarkable elements besides the story is the use of augmented reality technology. So you can scan the comic book, any page in the comic book, and it literally pops out. It becomes a pop-up book. And that's incredibly appealing, the use of technology, comic book art to reach young boys and young teenagers in India and elsewhere.
And people can actually see it and use it on their own devices, a bit like, I suppose, what people will have heard and seen with Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon Go has really put augmented reality on the map. But we actually did this 2 years before Pokemon Go went out to the public. We actually had it integrated with our first comic book, and we've actually done some remarkable street art. In fact, if you go to Darvi in Mumbai or Delhi or even the New York Film Festival, and you scan these murals on the sides of walls, animation, video, interactive elements pop out.
Let's talk a little bit more about acid attacks. I mean, you mentioned just the number in India, but it's not unique to India. We see them in the UK. There is one of the survivors in this book from New York. I mentioned a little bit earlier the mirror. Tell me the significance of the mirror in this story and in this book, and just the viciousness, the psychology around acid attacks.
Yeah, I mean, acid attacks are incredibly vicious. I mean, I know, of course, rape is a horrible crime, but acid attacks sort of adds on to this horrific nature of what happens to women in rape. I mean, the physical problems, the deformation of their face, their body, it can take decades of plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, to recover even a minuscule amount from such a horrible attack. And what's extraordinary is that acid attacks are not classified as gender violence crimes in most countries. So as a result, the perpetrators get very little jail time from committing such a horrible act. And the idea, the philosophy behind the mirror, and it comes from talking with these survivors in the various countries, and they are the real heroes. They're the inspiration for this comic book. And we decided to use this mirror because what they're trying to do is to be public, to be open, and to show people that being a survivor is not someone who should be hidden away to not live their lives, that they can live their lives. And the mirror is a reflection of this incredible truth and activism that they're doing.
Well, Rom, thank you so much for joining us after your first book. There were law changes after that horrific rape in Delhi. Let's watch and hope the same is true around acid attacks as well. Thank you so much for being here on the programme with us.
Thank you.